Let's talk more about this. Joining us right now is the former CEO of CKE Restaurants, former Labor Secretary nominee, Andy Puzder. Andy, good to see you.
Good to be here, Maria. Thank you.
So from a business standpoint, what kind of an immigration deal do you think the president should sign off on? What do you want to see? What are you expecting to be realistic?
Well, actually, I think the president's deal, what he's proposed, is spectacular. You know, if you look, and it really depends upon whether Democrats want a deal. If you go back to December of 2014, following the election, Republicans thought they could get a deal done. They told President Obama, the one thing you shouldn't do is act on your own because it will empower the people in Congress that don't trust you already. And, of course, the first thing he did was he dealt with policies that affected 5 million people that were here illegally by saying he wouldn't enforce the law. Now we've got the presidency. We've got the bully pulpit. He addressed this in the State of the Union. 1.8 million DACA recipients being offered either visas and a pathway to citizenship, even though there's only 700,000 in the program now, so another 1.1 million people. You get rid of chain migration, no more distant family relationships to get into the country. You get rid of the diversity visas, which affect only 50,000 people, but basically say we're going to let people in from countries that we're not normally letting people in from, which doesn't make any sense. And finally, the fourth pillar is obviously border security, which even Chuck Schumer says he wants. So if Democrats want a deal, there's a very good deal on the table that would be great for business, be great for the country, really improve the situation with respect to immigration. They should take it. They should get it passed. They could do it soon. They just need to get together and do it.
Andy, I'm looking at this, and we just talked on the panel about kind of the tax plan that went through, and now we've got these ballooning budget deficits, and it just seems like the Republicans have completely, flipped. And now they're not fiscally conservative. But I mean, one of the issues that I have is that they should completely not bring in the tax reform into this, given the fact that small businesses needed this tax reform. The middle class needed this. American working families needed this because they needed a tax rate that was even just on average with the global system. What do you make of what's going on with the budget deficits going on and tethering it to the tax reform plan that just went through?
Well, let me say two things. Number one, the reason that the president agreed to go forward with a plan that had budget deficits at this level is because we had to fund the military. Our Air Force was depleted. You didn't even have planes that could fly. The Navy is shrinking. We were not able to deal with the defense of this country in a way that the president felt was necessary to protect the people in this country. Now, the second part of that is we had to give something up because we don't have enough Republicans in the House or the Senate, which I'd ask people to keep in mind this coming November. But we don't have enough Republicans that we could do this and deal more rationally with the budget. So he agreed to something he would prefer not to agree with. I will tell you, though, this guy's a negotiator. And what are we talking about this morning? We're talking about these big deficits and what a negative impact they could have on the economy and on the American people. That discussion is the only way we're going to get the kind of necessary reform that we need to reduce those deficits. We have to have that concern out there with the size of the deficits because 70%, 69.2% of the 2019 budget is in wealth transfer programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. So we need to deal with this rationally, and we may be able to because we're having this discussion. As far as the tax reform bill, look, you've got to look at this National Federation of Independent Businesses survey that came out this morning on business optimism. Historic highs. 2017, the highest average we've ever had. January up 2%. And we want to see GDP growth and we want to see wage growth. And we're seeing that businesses are saying 2%, 2 percentage points more businesses are saying they will invest in capital expenditures, plant and equipment. 4% say they're going to increase inventories, which is, again, spending on capital expenditures. That raises GDP. And on wages, we haven't seen since 1989 as many businesses, as high a percentage, saying that they're going to increase wages, 24%, and 31% say they already have. So we're seeing increased wages, increased GDP, and a discussion on deficits. All of that is positive. We just need to keep it moving in the right direction.
Positive unless the markets look at it as inflationary and a reason for the Fed to raise rates more than we thought, right? So, I mean, you said a lot of things there. Number one, you think the markets are going to push lawmakers' hands? And number two, you say wages are going up. How high are they going up? I mean, is it becoming a problem?
Well, it's not going to be a problem for a while. Wages stagnated for 8 years. during the Obama administration. We have room to move on wages, and that's what we need to reduce income inequality in this country. Secondly, as far as the markets look, the economy is incredibly strong. American businesses are doing spectacularly well. They're the envy of the world. There's not a problem here with the American business or American businesses or the economy. The problem is with interest rates going up, people will transfer money out of the stock market into interest-bearing investments. That was going to happen whenever interest rates went up.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with economic strength, and markets may adjust. They are adjusting, and they should adjust.
Yeah. Real quick, final word, Diggin'
No, I was just going to say the problem is also the fact that we're now running trillion-dollar deficits, Andy, that this country gets swamped and the government pulls money away from the private sector. And by the way, inflation already percolating. Whirlpool, Ford, Cisco, the food company, see 3% inflation, higher costs. It's not just wage growth. Look out, because interest rates, higher ones, are coming.
And that's what the markets are saying, Andy. We know that.
Well,
Real quick.
and I'm so glad we're talking about
Yes.
that, because if it weren't for this, we wouldn't be talking about it, and nothing would happen.
Andy,
We're pushing this issue to the front.
Thank you so much, Andy Puzder. Great to
Thanks.
get your insights.